What's good? This is your boy Tico Tren, and um I'm gonna talk about Ticoisms, or I'm gonna talk about Ticoisms, um, or just things in general when it comes to me. One of the many things that you'll realize about me very quickly is that I will have very decent standards for all intents and purposes. Some would say they're high, some would say they're unrealistic. They're unrealistic, and some would say, well, we can all strive to have, you know, we can all strive to quite possibly for all intents and purposes, which is actually pretty. So it's one of those things where it's like you when it's one of those things where it's like when I get into that and I run into those lovely things, it tends to be a very interesting, almost like cascading effect when it comes down to it. Um, because each of my standards basically have their own flow chart behind them on why they're my standards and why I do the things I do and why I don't date the group of people I date and why I don't do a lot of stuff that a lot of other people do. This is typically why I don't just sleep around with anything and or fuck anything with a hole in it for all intents and purposes, because there's this thing called standards. I have more respect for myself than most other people have for themselves, unfortunately. So I'm just not going to sleep with anything and everything that got a hole, unfortunately, like most men. Um, this is typically one of those things that I tend to that everybody always like. When I say it, they want to act like they're shocked or it's unbelievable that a dude got standards. Like, um, for a glass of Johnny Walker, he's a trip. But yeah, it's typically one of those things. It's typically one of those things where I really start listening to people, and you start really getting a feel for them, and you understand why the fuck they're in the messes that they're in the first damn place, and how the hell they get themselves into relationships, and then they because they're in those relationships, they that you automatically got to be in those relationships. My favorite, my favorite thing that people say to me, well, I understand you're black, so you should like her. No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. Um, that's one of those problems that I have with a lot of stupid people that say the dumbest shit in the world. I think they're smart. They tend to say the dumbest shit in the whole entire world, and all because you kind of sort of hurt their feelings or stepped on their toes about something that they want to do, and it's like, no, that's not what I want to do. That's not somebody I would want to smash. Because at the end of the day, then they want to sit up there and call you a liar because they got low standards and you don't, and they want to call you a liar for you saying that you wouldn't smash a certain person because it is what it is at the end of the day because they got low standards. And that's typically why they always end up in the fucking messes that they're in. This is typically why there is the Ticoisms, and the reason why people always wonder. This is typically why there's the Ticoisms, and people always sitting up there trying to figure out what I am and who I am. If you just listen to the motherfucking Ticoism, you would know exactly who the fuck I am. It's one of those things. So this is typically one of them problems that I run into with a lot of goofy ass people from first world countries when they say the dumbest shit to me in the world. The dumbest, most retarded, stereotypical shit to me. And the sad part about that, they always then my favorite line that they always use is you don't know me or you act like you know me. Yeah, I do know you because I knew you was going to say that stupid shit right there. It's typically how it works. And the sad part about that is this is basically how you get a good feel for people, and this is pretty much how you can profile people properly when they do and say the dumb shit and the stupid ass talking points that they have, which is actually pretty funny because they'll sit up here and they'll say the most dumbest shit to you, thinking that they're trying to be smart and trying to be intelligent. Meanwhile, they sound dumb as fuck to you when they actually say the shit. When they say the shit to you, it's funny. It's like they'll try to say, well, this is not how this works, or this, that, and the other, or you don't know me, or you act like you know me. The fact that you just said that line makes me know you're dumbass because everybody uses that line when you typically know a person or you typically start to strike a, when you're typically starting to strike a chord with a person, they use that fucking line, and that's typically how that works. So it's one of those things it's one of those things where I look at a person and it's like one of those things where it's like I just want to bitch smack the person for all intents and purposes. It's like one of those things where it's like, can I bitch smack you now, or can you just take my hand and bitch smack yourself for you, you goofy fuck? And it's one of those things where you understand why another man gets into the dumb situations that he gets into, or he ends up in all the messes that he ends up in. And it's like, well, I understand why you end up in those messes because you make dumbass decisions. Well, you don't know me. Well, yes, I do, because I knew you were going to say that dumb shit. Every single person, every single person I've ever talked to about something, their automatic defense mechanism, their automatic defense response is, you don't know me, or you act like you know me. I do. I've known you because many people before you pretty much said the same fucking thing before you in response to me saying something about them that struck a chord with them. That's typically how this shit works. And then they always want to say that, I'm triggered. No, I'm not triggered. I'm being me. I'm never triggered. I'm an asshole no matter what across the board. Let it be the Pope, the bishop, the rabbi, the priest, the whoever the hell. I'm an asshole across the board. It don't matter who you are. I don't care if you're Jesus. Like I said, Jesus knows. Like, so, it's one of those things where it's like, well, Tico, what you doing right now? Nigga, what? Jesus like, damn, nigga, chill, nigga, damn. It's not that serious. So it's one of those things where like everybody knows me and knows how I'm going to respond to them. And it's one of those things where no, I'm not triggered. I'm an asshole. And if you say something stupid, I'm gonna give you an asshole answer for all intents and purposes, because I hate stupid people that make stupid assumptions and keep on making stupid assumptions because they want to try to make themselves seem right or try to make a funny out of stupid shit that's not supposed to be funny. And I hate dumb people like that try to do that shit, especially when they try to use like stereotypes to do so. So that's the shit that pisses me off when somebody does that and they say stupid shit to me. And it's like, well, now you're triggered. No, I'm not triggered. You're a dumbass. And you continuously sit up there and try to be a dumbass for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't have the standards, you can't just because you don't have the standards, that doesn't mean you can't expect me not to have the standards. Like I was talking to this guy for like the last few days in a server, and he said some of the most dumbest, off the wall, most bullshit ass shit to me. And I just looked at him like, and this is why you're in the mess that you're in. This is why you always end up with bottom feeder. This is why you always end up in the shit that you're in. And because he's going to tell me, well, I think the conversation was about a certain other YouTuber, and we were all talking in there. And I go, well, no, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if you know anything about me, I have a lot of Ticoisms. Ticoisms being, um, when it comes to women, there's certain Ticoisms. Like I mentioned this in another live stream. Good example of a Ticoism that I use a lot is when I refer to a woman as as my little sister for all intents and purposes. What that actually means is you're a person that I would never date because you got a lot of fucked up shit in your going on in your life, but you never done anything wrong to me, so you cool beams for all intents and purposes. So typically, a lot of people who get stuck in this category are people I would never date. Period. People I would never date and or have sex with because they got fucked up lives. That's typically how that works, and that doesn't necessarily make you a bottom feeder. It pretty much makes you somebody that I would never want to date and or want to fuck, basically. So it's one of those things where like people get mad at me for saying this shit because I have these sayings. All women are beautiful, but not all women are attractive. What I mean by that is, yes, all women are beautiful, but not all women are attractive to me. It's simply how that works, which is another Ticoism. Now, the thing about these Ticoisms, there's a reasoning behind these Ticoisms. It's a nice way to be an asshole while still being nice at the same time, while still being an asshole. Like a good example of that is if you've ever met me, there's three levels to it. There's three levels to attractiveness for me. There's beauty. There's just regular beautiful, which I believe all women are beautiful, but not all women are attractive. Then there's attractive. Then there's sexually attractive. Just because you're attractive to me, that don't mean I find you sexually attractive. Most women I come into contact with, I just find them beautiful. That's it. You're just plain beautiful. Suck it up. Love it. Take your title. Move out my face. That's typically how a lot of that shit works. That's a Ticoism. All women are beautiful, but not all women are attractive. Now you get to the level of attractiveness. Attractiveness is basically you're attractive. That's it. I don't want to fuck you. I would still hit pass in the game of Smash or pass. You know, it's just that type of shit. And typically, the women that were referred to as attractive would be women that I actually think is attractive, that you would think is out of your league for all intents and purposes on your scale of 1 to 10. Because I typically work off of a 3 tier scale of 1 to 10. There's beautiful 1 to 10. There's your version of attractive 1 to 10, and then there's my version of attractive 1 to 10. Meaning, if I find a person sexually attractive, that's my 1 to 10. If I've just found a person attractive, that's your scale of 1 to 10. If I find somebody beautiful, if you're a bottom feeder, 9 times out of 10, that's your scale of 1 to 10. That's because that's all you're pretty much going to get. And it's one of those things where like people get mad at me and they always want to try to, yeah, basically what America said. If she's sexually attractive, she gets the rod. And that's typically all it really is. Like if you're just regular attracted to me, you haven't really met the threshold for me to want to fuck you. Basically, what that means is you're nice and all, but I don't want to hit that. I still don't want to hit that. It's pretty much what it means. And people get upset. People get upset when I say that about them, or when I tell them you basically date bottom feeders, when in fact you do date bottom feeders. Because if you look at my scale of 1 to 10 and your scale of 1 to 10, these are two totally different worlds. These are two totally different ballparks. All the women that I've dated has been in the top tier scale of 1 to 10. All the women you dated has been in pretty much the first tier 1 to 10, where I refer to women as beautiful. You just date just women that I refer to as just, oh, they're okay, or I refer to them as like Colombian fours, fives. I mean, I refer to them as Colombian fours and threes and twos. That's typically women that are beautiful. Well, no, women that are attractive are usually the Colombian fours and threes. Women that are beautiful are typically the Colombian ones and twos. Um, that's typically how that shit works. So if I refer to a woman as a Colombian 1 or 2, I just find her just regular beautiful. Um, if I refer to a woman as a 3 or a 4, then she's a Colombian 3 or 4. She's attractive, not sexually attractive, but attractive. Very rarely do I actually turn to a woman and go, oh yeah, especially in the Western world. Oh God, I never turn to a woman in the Western world and says I'd hit that, because it's just no. Because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I can actually see past tits and ass to actually get what I actually need out of this situation that you can't seem to see past. All you see is tits and ass, or all you see is a warm hole, or you think of a wet pussy, and now and you just need to stick your dick in it. When in fact, that's not how I think. And there's this thing called standards. Like I always say, a nigga might be from a third world country, but a nigga got standards. And if you don't meet those standards, it just sucks being you for all intents and purposes. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of women who actually meet these standards. And there's a lot of women in the Western, there's about 95% of women in the Western world that just don't meet those standards. It is what it is. So it's one of those things where you have to meet those standards. And the sad part about that, it varies. It varies person to person based on characteristics from a culture or race or a certain group of people. However, I will say this: I've never dated a white woman, and I don't think I've ever really will plan on dating a white woman. Um, Typically is my always my baseline for anything. I just don't date white women. It's that simple. Um, and the reasoning behind it is the reasoning behind why I don't date white women is because my experience with white women are always bad. So therefore, I don't date all white women. All white women get thrown in that category for the fact that for the crime of some. That's typically how I treat it. So that's white women from Eastern Europe all the way to Western Europe, Western European to Eastern European women, all the way to the Western world altogether. So anybody white in the Western world, period, I won't date at all. Eastern European women out the window too. That's typically how a lot of this shit works. And the sad part about that is people always get upset with me when I say this, but look, it's called preferences, bitch. Both men and women, you're a bitch. I'm gonna need you to get over this bitch for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things. Either you got to live up to my standards, or you got to get bitch mapped. Or in the famous words of New Era Monk, I got to give you the pimp hand. That's typically how that works. And the sad part about that is, you say you got a horse named Trigger. He's a mess. But and the sad part about that is aren't crabs bottom feeders? I heard that they were. They could be, but I heard that they're bothie. But I heard that they mainly were. Um, and it's things like this that I always wonder about. I wonder about people and their judgment and why they make the I never really wonder why they make the dumb decisions that they make, because as soon as they open their mouths and say something, it's like, oh yeah, well, I can see why you're in dumb. I can see why you never really made it in relationships, or I can see why you end up in a relationship that you end up in, because you're all about a warm hole for all intents and purposes, and that's about it. And the sad part about that, you always wonder why you can't get a successful relationship or you haven't been in one. And it's one of those things where it's like, they'll try to argue me. Well, yes, I have. I've been in a successful relationship. I go, have you been in a relationship longer than 10 years? Well, no, you haven't been in a successful relationship. You've been in some temporary ships or some situation ships, for all intents and purposes. It's typically how that works, and that's simply how I see people who always say they've been in successful relationships and they haven't been in one over 10 years. If you haven't been in a relationship over 10 years, then you've been in a situation ship, or or you know, or you've been in a situationship, or a an arrangementship for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things where it's like, no, you haven't, and let it go. Suck it up. Get some standards. It's typically what I tell a lot of people, and they get mad at me saying I'm triggered. No, I'm not triggered. Get some fucking standards. Up your game and get some fucking standards. Because you can't sit up here and tell me that you're trying to. You can't sit up here talking about you have a goal to unify, men and women and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. You can't even get in a fucking a successful relationship your fucking self. That'd be like a pickup artist telling me, Tico, this is how to have a great long-term relationship. And I'm looking at him like, bitch, you can't even have a long-term relationship. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. And that's simply how I feel about pickup artists, because pickup artistry basically is a temporary shit. Nobody that's a pickup artist has ever been in a long-term relationship. It's that simple. And if they have, point them to me, and I'll tell you where they're lying at for all intents and purposes. I'll tell you where they're full of shit at. That's typically how that works. And the sad part about that is you get a lot of motherfuckers that'll say the dumbest shit to you, thinking that it's the greatest shit in the world, when in fact, no, it's really not. It's really fucking not. You're a dumbass. You say dumb shit all the time, and you think it's smart, and this is typically why people follow you, because dumb people follow dumb people. If you can't be intelligent, then I'm probably not for you. And that's one of those things that you pretty much. It's one of those things where like people always think they're smart, and it's funny, like, because I always say, look, I don't always claim I'm smart, and nor do I always refer to me being smart, but I'll play dumb in a heartbeat just so I can give you a false sense of security. So when I double tap that ass, when I double tap that ass, you'll be feeling some type of way for all intents and purposes. Because I always said like this: look, I'll play stupid, so when I run roughshod on that ass, you'll feel like a prison bitch. And that's pretty much how I feel about people. Because at the end of the day, what you ain't finna do or ain't finna tell me is that, well, Tico, well, this, that, and the other, and you're wrong, and this, that, and the other. Well, no. There's this thing called experiences that actually there's this thing called experiences that I actually go through, that I actually have in my life, that's a proven thing in my life. Just because you can't do it, or you're too busy trying to just stick your dick in anything, you're not going to ever be able to live up to. You're never going to be able to live up to those standards, or be able to get out of the rut you're in, if it's all about like trying to meet a girl and stick your dick in anything. It's typically like what they say in the red pill community: don't stick your dick in crazy. Well, this dude pretty much sticks his dick in crazy all the damn time. Then you wonder why he's always in the messes he does, or always gets dunked on by other people. Because like I remember the one time I was in this one server, the one well, I'm still in that server, where they have a bunch of MGTOW guys and stuff like that, red pill MGTOW, a bunch of a hodgepodge of different kind of guys in the server, and it's for men for all intents and purposes. So they have in the server, they have a bunch of different people from different walks of the manosphere in the server, and they talk shit on this dude on a regular basis. They have like a side by side comparison of the women he dated in the server, and they go, these are some ugly bitches. And one person goes, well, at least the other one's more attractive than the last one. And it's like, if that's what you live up to, if that's what you want to amount to as a guy, for somebody to say, well, at least the one's more attractive than the other one, that's some bottom feeder shit. If these guys in this server, who pretty much are known for wanting to hit anything, say you're dating fucked up people, and they say something to the extent of, well, at least the one over here is more attractive than the last one. You know that lets me know that you date bottom feeders for all intents and purposes, and you make fucked up decisions when it comes to relationships, and that's typically how it works. The sad part about that is I can't co-sign on none of your bullshit for the fact that you make dumb decisions on a regular basis, and then you want to try to pass yourself as a person that's trying to unify men and women, or a dude that's trying to say that he's successful in relationships when you date bottom feeders. Anybody can be successful in a relationship when they date fucking bottom feeders. Hell, I can get some ugly guy. I can get some ugly guy from from Dubai to pretty much date a ugly bit, a fat ugly bitch from the United States, and he can have a successful relationship. Come on now, don't get it twisted. And it's one of those things where it's like I always laugh at people that do this shit because I have friends. Like I always say, I got this friend, this Indian friend, who owns a private jet and a bunch of fucking cars. Um, and like I always say, he's a short Indian guy, pudgy Indian guy, and he bangs bitches 2 at a time on his private jet. 2 at a fucking time on his private jet. 2 at a fucking time on his private jet. And these ain't no ugly bitches. These some good looking bitches. These bitches that always got their nose up in the air, think they too good, with last names like Mellon or Scaife or Kennedy or Shriver or people like this. Hilton's, people like this. They're literally getting banged out on his jet two bitches at a time for all intents and purposes. So what you can't tell me is, this, that, and the other, and looks matter when in fact my pudgy Indian friend's banging bitches out two bitches at a time. Okay, cool. Moving on back to me. The sad part about that is when I hear people say the dumb shit that they do, and they always try to they try to use stereotypes to try to classify you as wanting to do it, and then they try to say you're full of shit when in fact, just because you have low standards, that don't mean I gotta have low standards with you. Just because you who you are, and you not me, and you jealous, that don't mean I'll hit anything that you want to hit because I have high standards. That's typically how this shit works. Just because I got black skin, that don't mean I watermelon and chicken, because I don't. I hate both watermelon and chicken, my nigga. Sucks being you. And just because I'm black, that don't mean I'll date white bitches. I don't date white women, nor do I date African American women either. That's typically how this shit works. And the sad part about that is, matter of fact, I don't date any women from the Western world now that I think about it, so I really don't have to discriminate. I just don't date bitches from the Western world. What you gonna do? Be mad about it? And it's just shit like this that makes me laugh when it comes to people. When it comes to people and the stupid shit that men say to you. And because the sad part about that, the way he talks, he sounds more simp than he actually tries. He tries to call you a simp, but this motherfucker sounded like a simp because couple days before, this nigga talked about he would smash somebody in the server. Nigga, you a simp. You a simp ass bitch. Talk about you'll smash somebody in the server. Like, nah, nigga, I got standards. I was raised with these standards, and I plan on keeping these standards around for a long time to come. Just because you have no standards, or just because you have no respect for yourself, you have very little respect and decency for yourself because you were raised with no respect or no culture. That don't mean I gotta have no standards with your dumbass. That's typically how this shit works. But the sad part about that is people always want to get mad at me. People always want to get mad at me because I call them out for having low standards. Well, no, what you trying to say, you won't hit that? No, I wouldn't hit that, motherfucker. You lying. No, nigga, I wouldn't hit that. It's that simple. She knows this shit, and we've already talked about this shit, and this has already been a conversation, and she knows this, and we've pretty much had a mutual conversation about this. So anytime I say something to her, it's really not going to be one of those things where it's like, no offense taken, because she knows I don't like her like that for all intents and purposes. This is typically the difference between me and most guys. Like I said, I can literally friend zone a bitch for all intents and purposes because I don't find her attractive. Now, the sad part about that is when I friend zone women, can't sleep when Tico goes off. Now, the sad part about that is I have standards, and I have a certain things, certain positions and standards that I have in place, so I don't do stupid shit like you. Like a good example of that is I friend zone more women than women friend zone guys. Period. Like, oh no, I can't. No, oh no, I'll call her my little sister, or I'll call them like, I'll just say, yeah, no, you're good. We can be friends. Because I'm more willing to friend zone the fuck out of a woman than a man will. A man be trying to befriend a woman so he can get in that pussy. I'm just trying to make you a friend because that's all you'll ever be to me is just a friend. Because I don't see a woman. Because like typically, I look at women and I judge them in three categories. Is she fuckable? No? Okay. Obviously, she's not relationship material, so therefore, that bitch is a friend. That's typically how I look at women. So I could actually be friends with a bunch of women and not want to fuck them. Now, I can't say the same for those women because I do have a bunch of women friends who are still trying to get at me, and it's simply because I don't want to fuck them. So therefore, the reason why they're trying to get at me is because I don't have the urge to want to fuck them, and that's typically how it works. And I have a bunch of female friends that's always trying some shit, or always trying to make a pass at me for no fucking reason. Well, for reasons obviously because I don't quite fit the mold that they're used to when it comes to men. When it comes to men trying to always do stupid shit, like men always try to do this extra shit for women, and nigga, I'm just gonna do me. Because like I said, I'm not friend. I'm not that friend that's going to tell you everything you want to hear. I'm that friend that's going to tell you everything you don't want to hear and destroy your ego and send your whole entire world crashing down around you. And then typically after you get up out of the rubble, I'm gonna say, "Are you okay? Let's go have this drink and talk about it." So I'll watch you get fucked up. Then wait for you to crawl out of the rubble and tell you, then pass you a drink. Basically, that's typically how I am as a friend. I don't pull no punches, and I'm not a friendly friend. I'm that friend that you actually need to. I say the shit that you need to hear. I don't say the shit that you want to hear for all intents and purposes because I don't believe in telling you what you want to hear because it's not that type of party. Sometimes, and I always rolled off that one meme with the chick from the Cosby Show. My mom always said, if I don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But sometimes bitches need to hear the truth. That's typically how I feel about everybody. And when I say bitches, I mean men and or women and or children and or dogs or cats or anybody. I don't give a damn who you are. The cops, the Jesus, the Pope, the bishop, the pastor, the priest, the rabbi. You're going to hear the truth from me no matter what. I don't give a damn shit. God knows he's going to hear the truth from me no matter what. He might shake his head and go, that nigga ain't got no sense, but I understand where this nigga coming from because I made that nigga and that nigga ain't got no sense. And I probably should have did something a little different when I created that nigga, basically. That's typically how that shit works. And I know this, he knows this, and he knows what he made when he knows what he did when he made me. He knows he fucked up then, basically. It's one of those things like, damn, I shouldn't have gave that nigga free will. But it's shit like that that makes me laugh when it comes to certain people. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, it's one of those things where like you get to see who a person really is by the amount of crying and whinging and bitching that they do for all intents and purposes in chats or in live streams or in private chats or in DMs and shit like that. You get to see how bitchy they are because they tend to open their mouth and say something stupid to you. It's like, oh, really? Right. I'm a simp because I'm not willing to date. I'm not willing to punch below me, but you're willing to hit that. Who's the simp now, little bitch? Like it's one of those things where like, they say the dumbest shit. I gotta be a simp because I'm not willing to punch below me. So I gotta be a simp. So, you're willing to hit that and I'm not. So who's really the simp here in this relationship? Who's really the simp here in this dynamic for all intents and purposes? Because at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, what's up, Americans? What's up, MGTOW Elder Monk? And what's up, Baron Yam? It's one of those things where you run into these people and they say the dumbest shit to you, and you wonder how they always get. And the sad part about that, as soon as they open their mouth, you pretty much already know how they get into the messes they get into by the way they talk when they open their fucking mouths. It's pretty much how it works. So at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, well, I can't believe you don't. I can't believe you want to sit up here and tell me you wouldn't hit that. No, I wouldn't hit that. Trust me, I've been in many games of Smash or Pass. I know what I'm willing to hit, and I know what I'm willing not to hit. There's these things called standards that you apparently don't have, and now it done hurt your fifis, and now you want to say I'm triggered. No, I hurt your fifis because I said I got standards. Just because you have low standards, you have a low bar to jump over. Sad part about that, some of these motherfuckers in this server, there's not even a bar to jump over. It's one of those things where it's like you just basically write a chalk line across the ground and these motherfuckers, you can pretty much walk over it, and that's pretty much how these motherfuckers are. It's like a chalk line on the ground. You just walk across it because you don't got to jump over shit. Because that's how easy it's for them to get it. That's how easy it's for them, that's how easy for any woman to want to date them to get in for like his purposes. Because that's the type of bitches they date. They don't got no standards and they don't make a bitch want to jump, basically. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it sucks being you. You got yourself in that mess. You got to get yourself out of that mess. Just because I don't get into the situations you get your ass into, that don't mean that don't mean just because you get yourself in the stupid shit or dumb situations that you get yourself into, that don't mean I got to get myself into dumb situations like you, because I actually have standards and I live by these standards. And if you don't like it, that's just too fucking bad. Fuck off. Pretty much how I feel. Fuck off. Because I'm not willing to lower myself to your standards. I'm not willing to lower my standards to your standards, because quite frankly, your standards are beneath me. And I know that sounds very condescending, but some of these niggas in this server, man, they got some low ass fucking standards and don't get any fucking thing. Man, I swear to God to you, this same motherfucker that be talking shit on me, this nigga would sit up. I swear to God, if you blindfold this nigga, he'd probably stick his dick in a cow. I shit you not. That's real shit. Like real shit. This nigga would probably stick his dick in a cow if you blindfold his dumb ass. That's how low his fucking standards are. Because that's basically all he really dates is fucking cows any fucking way. And it's one of those things where it's like, you want to come at me with bullshit. You want to come at me with bullshit, and you date bottom feeders. None of the women you've ever dated look as good as the ugliest chick I've ever dated. It's that simple. The ugliest chick I've ever dated looks better than every single woman you've ever dated put together. Hell, the ugliest chick I've ever dated looks better than any woman you wish you ever dated. It's that simple. Because I have standards. And that's typically how that works. And the sad part about that, on my scale of 1 to 3, it's still better than your 10s. That's typically how that works. So it's one of those things where it's like you run into dumb people that make the dumbest decisions in the whole entire world. And you wonder why I'm always dunking on your ass and shit like that. And voice chatter, you wonder why I'm always dunking on your ass and text chat. Because you make dumb decisions. You say the dumbest shit all the fucking time. And when I look at you, I'm like, I just want to punch you dead in the fucking face. Because you say the dumbest shit in the world. Then you expect me to co-sign on your dumb shit. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Like, anybody that always try to get you to co-sign on their dumb shit. And the sad part about that, this goofy nigga would try to shame you into co-signing on his dumb shit. That's typically how that shit works. He'll try to shame you into co-signing on the dumb shit that he's willing to do. And it's funny as hell. And I'm not going to put this person on blast yet, but if he keeps it up, I'm eventually make a video about his ass and then put his ass on blast. That's typically how it works. Because it's one of those things where it's like you look at this dude and you go, yeah, I see how you did. I see how you got into the dumb shit you got into. You got no standards. It's funny how you want to say how handsome you are. You want to drive around in a decent car with leather seats. You want to act like you're handsome when in fact you're dating bottom tier bitches. That's all you date is bottom tier bitches. And you wonder why you're always in the messes you're in. And like, it's one of those things, it's like, come on now, dude, get out my face with that bullshit. Because like I said, the ugliest bitch I've ever dated looks better than any of them. Looks better than the best bitch you've ever dated. Hell, the ugliest bitch I've ever dated looks better than the best bitch you've ever dreamed of dating. So I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. But continuing on with the whole entire things, with the Ticoisms, is like I have a few Ticoisms that I actually use. Like I've already said, a nigga might be from a third world country, but a nigga got standards. That's one of them. I love you like a little sister basically means I would never date you. I would never date you in the least bit. But I have enough respect for you to love you like a little sister. And if you have a problem, I'm there for you for all intents and purposes. However, I would never date your ass. So don't even ask, don't even look this way. Don't even pucker up your lips towards me because I'll slap you in the face. That's typically how I feel about women that try to do that shit, who I see as little sisters. I'm much willing to slap you in the face because you know better. Because I see you like a little sister. So don't kiss me. Or don't make any kissy faces at me. Don't make any passes at me. Or I'll hit you in the face with a fucking newspaper like you're a dog. That's typically how I treat people that do that shit to me. Especially if you're my friend and I refer to you as my little sister, and you try to make a pass at me or try to kiss me, I'll pick up a newspaper, roll it up, and smack you in the nose and say no. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I am with people, women that do that shit to me. I'll roll up a newspaper and smack them right in the nose and say no. And people think I'm mad, and people think I'm mean when I do that shit, but it's all about standards. Like, no, stay in your place, know your role, ho. That's pretty much how it really is. Like, know your role. Um, and that's simply how it works. Like, another Ticoism that I very rarely use, or that some people will actually hear me use, would be sunshine. This is typically reserved for a certain person who I admire and have a lot of respect for and admire and have a lot of respect for, psychologically, and mentally for all intents and purposes. So that's usually reserved for a person that I actually view that's the highest standard you can get for somebody that I won't date for all intents and purposes. Another Ticoism that I use is the missus. This is typically something that I refer to the cartel princess as the missus. We're not married, so yeah. But even if I was, even like a good example of that is I never referred to Mina as my wife when we were married before she passed away. I always referred to Mina as the missus. This is typically how you know how I feel about a woman that I'm in a relationship with. If I refer to her as my missus, as the missus, that means everything's going good and I'm in a good mood and I'm actually pleased with her. If I refer to a bitch as my wife, that bitch is about to get the door and a foot in her ass for all intents and purposes. So anytime I refer to a woman as a wife, or anytime I refer to a woman as my girlfriend, that bitch is about to get the door. That's typically how that works. So if I refer to her as a wife, if I have to refer to her as a wife, we're not getting married in the least bit. If I have to refer to her as my girlfriend, we're not getting married in the least bit, and she's probably going to get the door. So if I refer to a woman as the missus, that means she's actually doing everything she needs to do under the sun to actually be able to be kept around for all intents and purposes. Um, that's pretty much how that works. Um, so if I refer to a woman as the missus, that means she's doing everything right, and I don't have to put her ass out or give her the Samsonite luggage treatment. Bye, bitch. Basically, is all it really is, and that's typically how a lot of that stuff works. Um, so basically, those are all the Ticoisms for all intents and purposes. There's other ones that people say, but the main ones are those ones for all intents and purposes. So it's one of those things where it's like you got to meet a certain threshold. Just because you're beautiful, that don't mean I find you attractive. You got to meet a certain threshold for me to consider you attractive. It's that simple. On top of that, if you're attractive, that don't mean I want to have sex with you. You got to meet a certain threshold for me to want to have sex with you. It's that simple. So there is that bracket. Then there's attractive. Because I always said there's beautiful, attractive, and sexually attractive. They're all not mutually exclusive for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is for me to find you sexually attractive, I have to find you attractive. And for me to find you attractive, you have to meet a certain, you have to you have to check out certain boxes for you to not be beautiful, for you not to be considered beautiful, for you to be found attractive to me, for all intents and purposes. So there's a lot of boxes you have to check to actually get to my attractive bar for all intents and purposes. And like I've said many times in the past, I can date a bitch and not want to have sex with that bitch. Um, so I've been in relationships where I just didn't find a woman sexually attractive, no matter what she did. I just never found her sexually attractive. It's one of those things where it's like once you try to get like intimate with me, it's like, ooh no, stiff arm, like it's a Heisman Trophy on a bitch, like literally stiff arm her. I'm like, no. Literally, Samsonite stay in the closet with your name on it just in case I got to get rid of your ass. Typically, how that works. So it's one of those things where it's like you have to meet a certain threshold for me to find you attractive. Like I said, all women are beautiful. Yes, yeah, all women are beautiful, but not all women are attractive. That's typically how this shit works. So if you're not attractive, don't even pretend to be, or don't act like, oh, I will ever find you attractive. There's nothing you can do to get out of that bar. It's basically like the friend zone for. It's basically like the female friend zone when they friend zone a guy. If you're beautiful, you're automatically friend zoned. If you're attractive, you can still be friend zoned. If you're sexually attractive, there's a high chance you might not be friend zoned. And the sad part about that, the chance of me finding you sexually attractive are slim to none. You literally have to like jump some serious hurdles here. You basically have to be like a decathlon bitch. Basically, you got to be able to like perform in every single category for all intents and purposes for me to find you sexually attractive. And it's one of those things where it's one of those things where it's like not too many women can actually meet that standard and perform in a decathlon, perform well. I'm at decathlon. This is typically where women just fall short and they just end up being attractive. So, if you don't make the cut, you just don't make the cut. It's that simple. It's one of those things where it's like it sucks being you. You should probably try better with yourself or try bettering yourself if you want to make the cut. Because like I don't lower my standards for anyone. I don't give a damn who you are. Even the people that I roll with, they know that these standards apply to their asses too. So if you fuck up, I'm going to chew you out. If you say something stupid, I'm going to chew you out. If you say something dumb, I'm going to cut a nigga off. I'm going to cut a bitch off, basically, because you're acting like a bitch right now, and I'm about to cut you off. That's typically how a lot of this shit works. I'm going to make a live stream. It's going to have a certain name on it, and I'm about to cut you off. It's that simple. So it's one of those things where, like, I have standards. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you get invited to a live stream, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, is this for me or is this for somebody else? But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't date fat women. I don't date women that are out of shape. I don't date women who are who don't take care of themselves. I don't date women who abuse themselves. I don't date women who are alcoholics, and I don't date women who just make stupid decisions with their lives. I just don't date them because that right there lets me know that you're not worth my time and you're not worth me putting any energy or effort into you for all intents and purposes. The minute you can make dumbass decisions, the minute you're a drug addict, because I don't date drug addicts at all. Once a drug addict, always a drug addict to me. I don't give a fuck if you're clean for 40 years, 100 years, or 90 years. You're always going to be a drug addict in my book. The same thing goes for alcoholics. I don't give a damn if you've been clean for this long. You're still an alcoholic in my book. Therefore, I'm not going to date you. When it comes to women, and it's one of those things where it's like, look, no, you got it, you got to jump, you got to make it, you got to jump you got to jump the hurdles. I don't give a damn who you are. You got to jump these hurdles. Because I look at it like this. I don't lower stand just because you're a woman. I'm not lowering anything for your ass. I'm not lowering anything for your ass at all. You got to jump these hurdles just like everybody else jumped these hurdles. So I'm fair and balanced for all intents and purposes for that reason. Like, oh no, bitch, you got to jump these hurdles. But it's too high. Oh well, how about you go cry in that corner like a little bitch then and stay your ass over in that little corner? If you're not willing to make these hurdles, then you can't roll with me. You can't hang on my crew for all intents and purposes. You can't ride with me. It's that simple. And that's simply how I feel about anybody and everybody. If you can't jump those hurdles, I'm gonna need you to get your ass on and keep it moving. What's up, Hedden? Yeah, Double I would be more diplomatic about it. Yeah. Tico would be an asshole about it. Double I would be more diplomatic about it. It's typically one of those things. And Black Pill Radio would try to sort it out for you. Black Pill Radio would like try to be the even the level-headed person that would try to sort out the whole entire situation. That's typically how that works. But it's one of those things where, like, people get mad at me when I try to put them down they think I'm putting them down when I'm really not putting them down. I'm just basically telling you, no, I got standards. That's what you like. You pick yours, I'll do mine for all intents and purposes because I'm willing to bet you any money. I'm willing to bet you any money if any of the people were to come to me with women that they find attractive, I'm willing to bet you any money I'm probably not willing to date any of those bitches that they've already dated in their fucking life. I'm not willing to date any of the bitches in their yearbook. I'm not willing to date any of the bitches anywhere. So I'm gonna need you to fuck off with your choices. That's your life choices. Live with your life choices. And what's up with this damn plane? I do not have a jet plane. Let it go, Hinton. I have an Indian friend with a jet plane, but I don't have a jet plane. I don't own a jet. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's like it's one. Well, to be honest with you, hit Americus. If she's bald because of cancer and she's going through chemo, I can let that slide. If she's just going bald, period, I can't let that slide. Like I just can't let that slide. Like no, no, just no. All types of no. Um, but it's shit like that that just like when I meet different guys, it's like, dude, really? And you wonder how you got into this mess in the first damn place? Did you even take any time to reflect on your dumbass self to quite possibly make it so you might be able to fix yourself so you can get yourself into better situations or a better get yourself in a to a better way of life, maybe, just maybe, nigga. And it's one of those things where it's like, well, no, you don't understand. This on the other Tico. Well, no, I understand. I understand that you make dumbass decisions, and that's how you get yourself into the message that you get yourself into. And now you're trying to take it out on me and make me try to feel bad. It's typically how it works. Dude, I'm not willing. What he say? Dude, I'm not willing to date any of my exes either. Join Club Tico. Hitting as a nut. And it's one of those things where it's like people always try to parade people in front of me or different women in front of me that they think I might find attractive. And it's like, no, I don't find her attractive in the least bit. Tico, you kidding me. You're lying. You lying to me. You got to be kidding me. You got to find her attractive. You can't tell me you wouldn't smash that. I wouldn't smash that. I wouldn't smash that if I was the last man on earth. And it was the deal was if I hit that, I could see all my family members again, and I could bring everybody back to life. Y'all asses will all be dead. We all gonna be dead. That's typically how that works. When it comes to shit like that, like I said, if I won't smash somebody, I won't smash somebody, even if they're the last person on earth. Even if it'll bring back my loved ones or everybody I love, I'm still not smashing it. It's that simple. So we all gonna die down here for all intents and purposes. So if we're ever in a situation where it's life or death, and Tico's the one that Tico's the one that's got to actually do the deed, just know we're all gonna die. Like legit, just know we're all gonna die. Real shit. We're all gonna fucking die. And that's typically how it works. Um, I don't know, because it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where like you got to meet a certain threshold, or you got to check off at least multiple boxes for me to find you attractive. Then you got to check out a shit ton of other boxes for me to find you sexually attractive. And if I can't find you sexually attractive, then I'm not going to hit that. And if I can't find you attractive, I won't even consider you. Not that you were ever considered if I found you attractive anyway. You're just an attractive friend to me for all intents and purposes. Because just because I find you attractive doesn't mean I'll want to sleep with you. You're just attractive. You're just an attractive friend. Um, so it's one of those things where it's like either live up to my standards or get the fuck out my face. Or live up to my standards or fuck off for all intents and purposes. Like I always say, if you can't live up to my standards, fuck you, fuck your face, and fuck your day. If you don't like it, then that's just too damn bad. But anybody got any questions? Q&A for me? Yeah, they do need to bring back the dowry. Most definitely. I agree 100% on that one. They need to bring back the dowries and shit like that so they can make it worthwhile for people to actually want to date half the people. Because, yeah, these motherfuckers don't got no fucking sense. Well, then again, even if they bring back the dowry, there's still motherfuckers like this motherfucker that'll still date bottom feeder bitches any damn way. So it's not like it really matters. Don't date somebody. Like I said, if you put a blindfold on the motherfucker, he'll probably fuck a cow in the ass. Really, really hidden, really hidden. I don't know how much one costs. I do get emails for them. I do get emails quite out. I get emails twice a week for them from this one with global website that sells used jets. But that's used jets. I don't know how much a full price of a brand new one is. because I don't buy them, nor do I actually ever plan on buying one. Even though they become a famous star, I'm not buying one. Next question. Well, it's not the fact that men can't really choose whoever they want. Um, it's one of those things where like men get themselves into situations that they get themselves into situations by accident, thinking with their small head for all intents and purposes. The best way I can describe it to you. They got blue balls. They really want to hit something, and all the chicks on their level are going to be some work, and they just want to bust a nut, so they just go bang the fat chick for all intents and purposes, or they go bang the ugly chick with the glasses that got the fucking headgear for a fucking retainer and shit. Um, so typically men lower their standards just so they can get a nut for all intents and purposes. It's not because they like the woman, it's because they're trying to just bust a nut for all intents and purposes, and that's typically how a lot of that shit works. They're just trying to bust a nut. So it's one of those things where it's like they're basically trying to bust a nut. That's typically their problems. Yeah, I wanted an actual question. Simple, not no G5 question. Silly. I'll be happy to send you the link to the email that I get every so often if you want to know how much one costs. If you really want to know, yeah, no simp September. I hope that men can actually pull that shit off because it'll be a nice hit piece for women. It'll be a nice ego. It'll be a nice ego hit to the ego for women if they could pull that off. Or no simp September. Apparently, Yams don't know no simp September. Damn nice jet. What? Anyways. Well, yeah, if you're a MGTOW, you're probably no simp for life. Um, never, definitely never screw a fat woman. Never screw a fat woman. That's simply my feel. That's simply my sentiments for women. Because I even have a threshold for what I'm not willing to fuck. I look at it like this: if you weigh as much as me, situational to your sex, or if you, I look at it like this. Here it goes: a better view. If you could stretch out my t-shirts, we can't date, bitch. We can't date. If you can stretch out my t-shirts, we can't date in the least bit. If you stretch out my fucking hoodie, we can't date, bitch. We can't date at all. So if you can't fit none of my clothing without stretching them bitches out, we can't date. That's typically my standards for all women. And the sad part about that is I wear extra large. So yeah, I'm gonna need you to be able to fit in an extra large. If you can't fit in that extra large and you wear a 2X or bigger, we can't see each other. We can't even talk to each other. I'm gonna need you to let that go. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For all intents and purposes, yeah. I'll give you that. Monk mode. And what's up, successful endeavors? Hey, I'll give you that. Um, yeah, for the most part, I'll give you that too. Yes, I did, smartass. I really did enjoy them. I'm still watching some now as we speak. Matter of fact, I'm watching one as I'm doing this live stream. Matter of fact, this podcast. To be honest with you, let's see. Yeah, basically that's the elasticity test. Because I look at it like this: if you can't fit my clothes, we can't date. We can't date at all. If you can't fit my clothes, like I said, I wear extra large. For those of you who always try to be calling me fat, I wear extra large. So if you can't fit my fucking clothes, We can't date. What's up, a manly load? You have a free trip to Niagara Falls. That's what's up. Definitely take it. What side? I would go to the Canadian side. The Canadian side's way better. FYI. Um, yeah, that's elasticity test. I still have to watch it, and that's fucked up. Yeah, God don't like ugly. After you picked on me for misspelling the true charm thing, that's what you get. God don't like ugly. Let's see. No, she don't. As far as like for my fitting my clothes, she don't fit my clothes. I know she don't fit my clothes. Um, Unwed mothers, no, never, ever, 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 ever. What do you say? Tico, Tico has standards. Shocker. Want to smell? Successful endeavors a nut. Want to smell? um, I've never slept with a fat chick. I've never even dated a fat. Matter of fact, I've never even kissed a fat chick. I don't even think I got any fat friends. The only fat friends I got are guys. I don't have any fat female friends at all. I have zero fat female friends. Um, yeah, I have zero fat female friends. Look at that. Even as my friend as a female, you can't be fat. That was the funniest part of that movie. It's like a goddamn linebacker. Y'all definitely got to go check out that hidden movie. It's on brand new tube, basically. Go check it out. It's funny as shit. He superimposed my face, True Sherm's face, Mister Elite's face, and what some other people's faces on characters walking through a prison. It was the funniest shit in the world. Definitely go check that shit out. Definitely go check that shit out. Oh, and Hammerhand's face was transposed on somebody too. So definitely go check that movie out. It was funny as shit. um, yeah, I wouldn't want to attend one either. Another standard that I have when it comes to women is like I can pick up a shit ton of weight, but I have this standard. I have this what from the breedery culture. Only take what I can carry. So that means if I can't carry you and fend off a wild animal, like I always use the whole entire like flooding flooding thing. If I'm walking through a flood zone, if I can't carry you and fend off alligators or any old type of thing that I could possibly need to fend myself off from you because you're fat, then I can't date you. That's simply how that works. Um, and the sad part about that is I can actually pick up and carry about like 350 pounds, but I'm not willing to carry 350 pounds. Hell, I'm not willing to carry 200 pounds. So if you weigh 200 pounds, I'm not willing to carry you. If you weigh if you weigh anything over hell, if you weigh anything over 180, I'm not willing to carry you unless you're tall. Let's just let's just proportion it to your weight. Unless you're like a tall bitch, basically, then we could talk. But if you're not a tall bitch and you weigh like 280, I mean 180, we not talking. We not ever talking. Like, but if you weigh that much and you ain't tall and your weight to body proportion your weight to body proportions aren't proper, I can't date you. I'm sorry. If your height, weight, and your mass don't fit, I can't date you. It's that simple. Um, so it's one of those things. Anybody got any more questions? and no private jet questions because I'm not rich. Simpletons. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you got to basically you basically got to you think 168 is the limit for a sister. You talking about a black chick or you talking about a Latina? um, I don't think I've ever dated a woman. I've never dated a woman that weighed 160. To be honest with you, I've never. I don't think the heaviest woman I've ever dated. The heaviest woman I've ever dated weighed like 130, 132 maximum. Um, yeah, that was the heaviest woman I've ever dated. She weighed like 130, 132. Um, maximum. Even at her heaviest. Um, so it's one of those things where it's like, I've never actually I've never dated a woman that weighed over 130, 132. So it's one of those things where it's like, dude, I really, you found out very quickly, I really do have standards. So it's one of those things where it's like, I can't date you if you weigh over a certain amount. However, I do have a threshold for what I'm willing to date. Like a good example of that, I would date a chick as long as her body proportions are right. I would date a chick that's 175. Um, I would date a chick that's 160 something if her body proportions are proper. Like a good example of that is if her waist her waist her waist or hip ratio to how tall she is actually is proper, then I'll date her. However, if she's as big wide as she is tall, I can't date her. If she's half the size that she is wide as she is tall, I can't date her. If the size of her hips or the size or pretty much the same width between her between her feet and her and the top of her kneecaps, I can't date her. So it's one of those things where it's like you literally got to have like somewhat of an hourglass figure for all intents and purposes for me to want to date you. You got to have an hourglass figure. Um, so it's one of those things where it's like you either got to have like a slight curvature to your hips, or you got to have a major curvature to your hips. So it's one of those things where it's like you got to have that curve. I'm sorry, let it be a slight curvature or a decent curvature. You got to have that curve, and your and your waist can't be bigger than your hips. It's typically how I feel about that. Um, it is what it is. So if you don't like it, that's just too damn bad. Um, which actually makes for fun. Um, you say blue 32, blue 32. Simple as hell. Hitting is a nut. The dining hall. Y'all must have ate at some very ugly dining halls. Shit. He's simple as hell. He said watching a movie right now. Good stuff. She's all shoulders. I can't date a chick that's all shoulders. Um, I just can't date a chick that's all shoulders. Um, if she looked like she could take the pads the practice pads on the field, I can't date her. Um, if she looked like she could move the guy on the little sled, I can't date her. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I have standards, so you have to live up to them. And at the same time, like those standards, like as far as like standards go, those standards aren't just for women. Those standards go across the board for men too. If you're not willing to take care of yourselves or better yourself, you can't hang with me. If you're willing to do stupid shit, I can't hang with you and you'll never hang with me. If you're willing to put yourself into a bunch of hot Uh, if you're willing to put yourself into stupid situations and continuously make dumb decisions, you can't hang with me. It's that simple. So when it comes to men, you got to always be willing to improve yourself and better yourselves, no matter what. It don't matter how long it takes you or how slow your ascent is, as long as you're improving yourself. And I can see that you're actually making a stride towards improving yourself. I don't care how long it takes you, just as long as you're going that direction, for all intents and purposes. Just as long as you're not staying stagnant, you look like you're moving that direction. Is all pretty much how I feel about it. It's typically how I feel about so people always do self improvement. I'd say those women are called refrigerators. Y'all are some sick individuals in the chat tonight. When she catches your fall, what? Oh god, bitch look like refrigerator Perry. That's funny as hell. She's a defensive tackle. Definitely not dating a defensive tackle. Like like the best way I can describe the most I'm willing to do as far as like women's body types. The first person that pops into mind that I can think of off the top of my head is the worst I'm willing to do for as far as women's are concerned is um a woman that's proportionate, a woman that's proportionate to a what the hell's that woman's name? Uh, um, who has a waist to hips ratio like a who's that famous chick that everybody always talks about? Oh, that was famous. JFK apparently was fucking her, and everybody else was fucking her. What's her name? I don't know her name. I can't remember her name. She's not all that important, I guess. But yeah, that chick basically. If you're built like her, you're reasonable. If you're bigger than her, then we can't talk. So sophisticated. Hidden ain't right. Who'd you say? She definitely got your back. When she's definitely got your back. She's an ICB ICBM. Wow. Insert ballistic missile. Really? Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. um. Let's see. She's a busted can of Pillsbury biscuits. Wow. Monroe, that's who it is. Monroe. What's her first name? I can't remember her first name, but I know her last name is Monroe. I know one of her names is Monroe. I don't know. Um um yeah, I can't date a chick whose waist or whose 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 waist are bigger than her hips. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't. I don't care what you got going on. I just can't. She got her dad's back. Not happening. Not happening. She got your flapjacks with butter and syrup. Y'all motherfuckers are crazy. Yeah, that's her name, Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're not built like her, we can't talk. If you're bigger than her, we can't talk. I'm sorry. And that goes proportionate to your height. That goes proportionate to your height too. So if you're her size and you're bigger than her, we can't talk. If you're taller and you're about as big as her, we could probably talk. If you're smaller than her, if you're about like I'll say about like about 5 inches or 6 inches smaller than her, we're going to probably have problems. If you're like shorter than her, we're probably going to have problems. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I have standards, so you got to live up to them, no matter if you like it or not. Live up to them. Even if you're a guy, I have standards. If you can't improve yourself and you put yourself into dumb situations, I got to let you go. I can't hang with you no more, and you can't hang with me because you're disrespecting my standards for all intents and purposes. So if you can't meet them, don't get mad at me when I cut you off. I'll cut you off like K Cam. It ain't nothing to cut a nigga off, basically. In your case, you'd be a bitch in my book, so it ain't nothing to cut a bitch nigga off for all intents and purposes. It's simply how that works. Um, you're a trip when she can pick you up. Y'all are a fucking trip. But you can't pick her up. That's a funny shit. French doors. Y'all are sick individuals. Y'all are some sick individuals tonight. Um, but yes, it's one of those things where it's like it's pretty much one of those things where it's like, hey, you gotta have fun, and if you can't have fun, then there's no point in having it. There's no point in doing it for all intents and purposes. Um, but yeah, I'm debating if I want to let somebody in for Ticoism one. I'm gonna let somebody in since nobody got questions and they want to make simple comments in the comment section. I'm gonna put the link in the comment section below if they want to jump in. But yeah, it's one of those things, Rosie O'Donnell. Definitely not dating that bitch. Oh no, definitely not dating that bitch. Oh no, she ain't allowed to get bigger than me. I don't care what you got going on. You ain't allowed to get bigger than me. I'll break up with you. Like I don't care. I'll say bye. You should have set me for me. Bye. I don't care. I don't care. Fuck that shit. If you're bigger than me, and you tell me I gotta accept you for you. Bye. That's pretty much how I feel about women. That tell me some shit like that. I'll just laugh in your face and say bye. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah. And another thing I can't do, I can't date a chick that got bigger feet as big as mine or bigger than mine. Like we can't date. We just can't date if you got feet as big as mine or bigger than mine. Like I said, for those the people that always talk shit on me, I wear a 1X. So what's your excuse? Um, so I'll be fat with a 1X. Sad part about that, me wearing a 1X, I'm about 6'2", about 6'2", about I weigh about two something, and I wear an extra large. So I'm gonna need y'all to come up with y'all excuses on why y'all fat. Plus, the sad part about that is I don't do regular workout. I actually do powerlifting. So for me to be a power lifter and still wear extra large says a lot about my workout routine. Just saying. Just saying. Shade on y'all motherfuckers.
But yeah, yeah. I also have another standard that it would be like their mental
Oh
health.
yeah, definitely.
Like I
Mentality is
don't
always
date I
important.
don't date people who are like mentally ill or they say, "Oh, I have BPD." Okay, well, I got to get the fuck out of here. I
I'm
got
dropping a
plans.
bitch off
I
at
got
this
plans.
at this next stop up here. Disease. I
Oh,
gotta
would
get
you
the
say
fuck out of
that?
my
Oh,
car
yeah, that's
disease.
your thought. No, it was like no. It's like I followed Hidden's advice and we just both got on the bus. And then I got off. I was like, "Oh no, this is my stop. This is my stop." I got off the bus.
And it's one of those things where it's like you run into people and it's like, yeah, mentally she actually gotta meet a certain threshold mentally for me too. Because I said I don't pay attention to women unless they say something intelligent, not smart, intelligent. So
Intelligent, yeah, exactly.
I won't pay attention to a woman until she says something intelligent. So you could be the sexiest woman in the whole entire club. If you don't say nothing intelligent, I'm not going to pay you no mind.
Yeah, you could have the highest, or yeah, you could have you could have the best degree, and it still wouldn't matter. I'm not gonna talk to you.
No, yeah. Like if you can't say nothing intelligent, then we can't have a conversation. I will never talk to you, nor would I ever look your way, nor would I even look past your head because you ain't important to me, basically. Because that's typically how I feel. Like if you can't say nothing intelligent, then I can't. I'm not even gonna pay you no mind. And like I said, it don't matter how high your SMB is. I don't give a damn if your alpha male's lifestyles 12. If you can't say nothing intelligent, I'm not gonna pay you no mind. I don't give a damn if you're entrepreneur in cars 10. If you're entrepreneur in cars 10. If you can't say nothing intelligent, I'm not gonna pay you no mind. Nor am I gonna look your way, nor am I gonna talk to you, nor am I even gonna
Yeah.
have a conversation with you. Because I've actually done this.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
actually done this where I had a friend sitting on the other side of a woman, and I'm literally the woman's trying to get in a conversation. I'm looking past her, talking to my friend, ignoring the bitch, and she was attractive, but I was ignoring the bitch, trying to have a conversation with my friend because she ain't had nothing intelligent to say. That's how savage I am. I will ignore your ass out of existence, sitting next to me, if you don't got nothing intelligent to say. If you're a woman, I would ignore your ass out of existence, like your ass ain't sitting there. I would pretend like there's a barrier there, and I just have to look around it to talk to my friend. That's how savage I am in public. It's like, so yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you really
Well,
gotta
yeah,
earn.
it's one thing to be seen, uh, you know, with a woman that looks a little stinky, 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 hefty, hefty, hefty. But it's another thing to be caught in a dumbass conversation where you're wasting your time. Like no matter how hot the person is or how you think they look good to yourself, if
Mhm.
you're just like having to lower yourself to a lower brain frequency every time you have to be around this person, I mean, it's just not worth it to be
No,
dating
definitely
them.
not. It's never worth it. It's
Because I
never
remember
worth
that
it.
I had there was this like really petite girl that I used to talk
He's
to
a
back in
bitch ride the
college,
bus.
and they're like, oh, oh, we smoke a little bit of weed. Okay, I was like talking to her. I realized, wow, she is dumber than a box of rocks, and I was just like, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I cannot.
And the sad part about that, she's
And
probably
just
so dumb.
ghosted.
She's probably so dumb. That's probably an insult to a box of rocks.
Yeah, yeah. Trust me. There's a lot. There's not a lot of smart people, smart women that go to college. Like most of the smart women I've ever met, they just like get a job. They just have gotten a job.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because I've always
I
said
mean, the
when
younger
it
ones.
comes to big people, if you're not trying to improve yourself, I can't date you. If you're not trying to work on yourself or trying to improve yourself, because I'm all about self improvement and bettering yourself and not staying
Let's
stagnant.
go.
So if you can't do that, then I can't date you. If your goal is to get a man and be lazy, you ain't gonna get me. Because I'm
Get a
not
man,
finna
be
we not
lazy.
finna
The
we not
fuck
finna pay
is
for your
that
health
kind of shit?
insurance. Because you're about to be health insurance for 4 people.
So short. You like that. Yeah, no way, man.
I'm definitely
Or
not
like,
dating. I'm definitely not dating a
because
bitch with an IQ lower than room
right,
temperature.
head ass.
Yeah, no, just now. Like I don't even like having male friends with with IQs lower than room temperature. I'm definitely not
Shit,
dating no bitch
my
with a
dog's got to become human level IQ, or else I can't hang around my dog too long. I'm like,
mm,
you better understand me.
like I look at it like
What
this. If your
happened?
IQ's lower than my dog Winston, we can't hang together. Like we just can't. If Winston can figure out shit, like a good example of that. Remember um what what's that TV show that
Sponsored
had
services. She's a
what's
dumb bitch.
what's that TV show with the 3.5 Men? Remember that
Mhm.
one chick that he was dating called Candy? If you stupid like her, we can't date. We ain't dating ever.
Mhm.
I don't even want to
No.
smash that because I look at it like this. I look at it like this. Me having sex with you just lowers my IQ.
Yep.
Like I don't have to talk to you. Me just having sex with you lowers my IQ
Lowers
because
my
like the
literally
fact
lowers
the
my
fact that I know that you sound stupid and you can't even really figure out shit because that's the type of shit where like that's where the blonde jokes come into play. She there was lipstick on a horn.
Yeah, I actually tried that once. Like, I went on a few dates with people that I knew that I wasn't gonna have sex with, and then I realized like halfway through it that I was like, oh, you know what? Nah, this one's not the one for me. Like, she's too dumb, or I don't. I realized I didn't actually think about, or like I didn't actually really see her the right way, or like maybe it was she was the way she was dressed at work, or otherwise. But like I was just like, oh no, it's not gonna work out. And then I had to ditch after that because there's no point. There's no point in continuing it if you realize that that person doesn't meet your standards.
Yeah, because like shoot, I've actually broken up with women in the middle of dinner.
I hate just barking up the wrong tree just for approval. That's the kind of stuff I understand.
Like
People
I
get
broke
themselves
I
into.
broke up with women in the middle of a day. Like you know what? No, I'm done. I'm sorry. You want me to take you home, or you want to catch a cab home? Because I don't even want to deal with you no more. I literally told a woman that across the table. Like I don't. No, I'm done. Check, please.
Mhm.
Check, please. I'm done. Like I'm done.
Leave it. I
I'm done.
am
Like
out.
for real. Like yeah,
I,
no, I just can't. I just can't do stupid. I can't do. I just can't do it. I
I
can't.
hate the virtue signaling ones where it's just like, oh, I can't like women who like with the women who just will just keep virtue signaling, or like they ask if they start asking those questions like, what do you do for a living? What are you? What are now a new one is out there now like from
Facts,
the
America's
millennials.
facts.
They're like, what are you
Yeah,
passionate about? They say like, what are you passionate about? Or what makes you unique?
I don't like you. That's what makes me unique.
That's what makes you unique.
I don't want to date you. That's what makes me
Like
unique.
if you're not like if you don't get like external confidence from anywhere, they feel compelled to ask you like why do you feel so self confident? That's basically what they're asking when they say what like when they ask those kinds of questions.
True.
It's like a bait in order to start shaming because they can just shame you right off the bat because it makes them look like a bad person.
Looking for approval from me. I can't date her. If you have to look for justification on why you did something and you look to me for approval, I can't date you. I can't. I just can't. I just can't. No. Like this one chick
Yeah,
was
yeah.
asking me about her purchase of an iPhone. Do I think it was an important purchase? And like the fact that you had to ask me lets me know that you're not worth my time. Like if you can't justify it yourself, then don't ask me to justify it for you because you're not worth my time to justify your purchase. Because if you can't figure it out yourself, then don't talk to me. And that's simply how I feel about a lot of that shit. Because I actually had a woman ask me that one time because she actually owned a business and she bought an iPhone. Then she asked me, "Do you think that I do? Do I think she made a good purchase, or do you think that was a good purchase for my business?" And I'm sitting there looking at her like, if you have to ask me about this shit, then obviously you have doubts in what you did yourself. And if you have doubts in what you
Yeah,
did yourself,
exactly.
I can't be around you.
Right. I don't.
Like I just
That just
can't.
seems like such a dumb, like such a like a bullheaded, just like normie question. I don't know. It just. Oh well,
Like
I
I
actually
don't want
thought
to
about this
co-sign on
today.
your buyer's
Like
remorse. In other words, yeah.
there's a bit that Louis C.K. does where he's just like he's talking about standing in the elevator or going down a hallway with or something that with like his neighbor in like the apartment complex, and he just talks about like that awkward silence
Hmm.
in between where like all of a sudden like you or that you feel when you say like oh the weather's been pretty crazy out like happened all the time in Minnesota. That's what people in Minnesota do all the time. They like
Yeah,
just
Minnesota.
like
Yeah.
in order to like not like keep that they just will automatically just start talking about the weather. It's like well it's really warm. It's like yeah well it was pretty cold yesterday. That's pretty much what we do.
Hmm.
And he was talking about the bit where there's a pause and then he says something crazy like I haven't talked to my father in 2 years or something like that, or like
Hmm.
16 years or something. And that's kind of like what I feel like it's it happens now whenever you if like being a red pill, kind of you just let you just like let silences happen. I don't know. I don't know. It's different. It depends on the situation. Cause like I realized that my red pill my the way that I see the red pill is like it's just kind of like when I hear your Ticoisms, it definitely like resonates with me.
Yeah.
Mm. Because it's the stuff that's the stuff that I say during those times, like when it's like awkward or when somebody's just been kept on fucking saying the same bullshit over and over and over again. I just like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know what else to say.
Like, didn't we revisit this? Didn't we have this conversation already?
Yeah.
Why are we having this conversation again in a new live stream? This is a new live stream. Let it go.
Uh-huh.
Shit. Like, it's like, yeah, I hate people that do that shit. Like, that just gets on my nerves. Like, dude, we've already had this conversation. Let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do kind of sometimes forget the track of conversation, but I like try my best to keep up, and then I don't try to like, I don't know, I don't try to like throw snide comments after I got caught slipping. I just kind of like own up to it, and then like just try to move on from it and not get stuck in it at all.
Yeah, true story. Because people don't even know how to do that these days. They act like a bunch of fools these days. I'm actually looking at them like, dude, are you serious right now? You're acting like a big ass kid, dude.
No. Right, yo, Ken, sorry, because I'm in here now, but Kendall had a pretty decent live stream as well today. It was good.
That's what I hear. I was only there for part of it.
Yeah, me too.
I caught the last 20, 30 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some bohemians over there, man. There's a lot of different ones all over the manosphere. But yeah, well, back to your Ticoism thing though too, because I mean, we ended up coming here talking about dating and whatnot. Yeah, like some people, there's just one person who I was in their live stream and I was like, yeah, after seeing women get,
we know you are hidden. We know your ass is.
Side comments. I got that part covered. Oh, dude, I don't mind when they come from you. I actually appreciate when they come from you. Oh, by the way, with that movie, it was good. I don't know, I forgot.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it on 2x speed.
That's fucked up. You talking about the one where he went to prison?
Yeah, I watched that right now. I watched that right now as I was watching.
It's only like 20-something minutes. Are you serious?
I know. Yeah, I watched it.
You should be ashamed of yourself. It's only like 22 minutes. You gotta watch it on double speed and shit.
I was trying to get. Maybe I feel a little bit ashamed.
It's only 22 minutes, and it's actually a good movie.
I had fun watching it.
That's good.
I mean, it's funny. He got thrown in the jail because of an unwed mother.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, that's when a Ticoism really could have come in handy for him right there.
Right.
Like, man, you should have had some. Shouldn't have been hanging around in that part of town near the ATM machine or whatever she was trying to get money out of. And then he gets thrown into YouTube jail because he said some like red pill shit. It's a good ass movie. It's a good ass
yeah, that was funny as hell. Did you see the part where I was walking through jail?
Just because I watched it on 2x.
Yeah, me walking through jail with Shu Sherm and Mr. Form, Mr. Elite and stuff like that.
Oh no, it was like True Sherm. I saw True Sherm in there.
Yeah, apparently I'm the one in the. That was like the far back left. I think it was.
It looks into the yard and it's penny proud. It's like
yeah. Mr. Mr. Elite's voice. That bitch is a linebacker.
That bitch is a linebacker. Get your ass out of here, Mr. Elite. Back at you with another video. Back at you with another podcast. Back at you with another live stream. No, we ain't playing that shit. Get your ass out of here.
Yeah. That's some funny shit though, but
those are some elitism.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, sorry to cramp your style here, man. You were actually like the way it started. You were already talking. I was like, This is like a voice recording from the Tico Diaries or something.
Right?
It's like,
You say whatever, some Johnny
something
Walker
I always
Blue.
find funny.
You say some Johnny Walker Blue King James
It
variant or
was
some
some
shit like
smooth
that.
ass shit. It's like you were. It's like you were just talking to a crowd full of people, and then you like went back and you continue. You like digress. You're like, but I digress.
Yeah, right? Simple as hell.
It was dumb. I was like, how can this dude really start it right in the middle? I was feeling like I was like new era monk, uh, double tapping your channel. I was doing that shit. I was like, listen, Junior, you don't come starting on this stream in the mid sentence like that, like it's the end of The Sopranos or something.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, sorry. Was there any questions I actually had for you?
I don't know.
No, not really. Not really.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah,
Oh,
but
what do you think of flannel? Do you wear flannel?
no, I don't wear flannel. I don't do flannel.
Not your thing.
No. Not even back in the
Like,
'90s when gangster rap was in.
'cause I used to wear a flannel a lot in Minnesota,
I don't
but
do
that was
flannel. I can't. I refuse.
I realize a lot of soy boys wear flannel, so I
Yeah,
kind of have to
nowadays they
add that
do.
all to my
They all got they
wardrobe.
all got they all got beards and shit, looking like lumberjacks out there and shit with flannel,
Beard flannel. I'm like, wow, and a baseball cap.
or one of them tassel caps.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Nasty. And like I realized they. I realized the standards are kind of just at an all time low. Like you look out there in the lowness, and then it's just like everybody stares at the exact same women that walk by that I just
Hmm.
ignore. And I'm like, you guys are getting mad at me for not paying attention to like what everybody else is paying attention to and going off of what I like would look for in somebody. Like that's so messed up
Yeah.
that I can't have any sort of I gotta go with the crowd. It was like
And that's simply how it
I don't
works in this
I
day
can't
and
tell
age.
you
You
don't
have to
care.
go with the
It
crowd
doesn't really
because
matter.
everybody else will. So that means you have to.
Yeah, like why won't you go why wouldn't you just do something? It's not like you're gonna like as long as you follow the rules and you pay attention to the statistics, you can avoid becoming a statistic. It's like no, you need to actually do something in order to not
Become a
be seen
statistic.
by people this way.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's
like
like
the
you
sad
need
part about
in
that,
order to
you can
not.
spout the statistics all you want to. If you keep on acting stupid, you'll end up being a statistic. If you don't follow those statistics, or you end up like being too hard into statistics, you end up being another statistic. That's typically how that
Yeah,
works.
exactly. Gunts are at their world record stretch. Gunts? What the fuck is a gunt?
What are you talking about? What's up with the oil can? What? What oil can?
He's talking
Anywho's,
about I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, if you look out there in the world, like you see individuals who like are thinking that they can
guns are
control,
ubiquitous.
think that they can like control all these women, and like they have like a harem or something in their mind. But
Hmm.
and really, they don't have a harem. They just have a bunch of women that they're open to, like emotionally, or they're open to like they have low standards. Like they meet like they're like, oh yeah. I could definitely go after all these women. It's like no, more more or less it's just the fact that you don't have any way of like measuring up to looking your like I don't know. It's just a huge repression.
He said guns are the world record stretch. That's some funny shit right there.
Ubiquitous. Okay, I think I know. I
Then
think
it
I get
said
what. I think
ubiquitous.
I can kind of infer what it means. I don't know what a gunt is.
It's the
Oh,
space
don't.
between the belly, below the belly, and below the belly
Oh, a gut
between.
and a
No, it's
yeah.
guns. Well, it's in a gut area, but it's just It's just below the it's below the belly.
It's like yeah, it's like
Like
if it's her belly and then it's her belt
a
and
good
then it's the
example of
part
that. Another
underneath.
good example of or definition of a dunce is everything but her face. She's a butterface. Um, and another one is basically the area between her belly and where like basically the areas where it results from like weight gain from children, childbearing, for all intents and purposes, is considered the guns. But usually, like they were usually a lot of people, depending on where you were, they either refer to it as like a butterface or she basically has a guns from having children. Sad part about that, half these heifers don't even have children; they got guns.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say I know somebody who has a gun, but they don't. I don't think they've ever had a kid.
Hmm.
I mean, if she did, then that means she would have hid the fact that she had a kid, and that would be trifling. I'd be like, "You're so foul for that. I know you have a kid because I see your gun." And then she'd be like, "Wait, what? What do you mean?
You're like, what's that?
You don't know? Like, you don't know what a gun is? You don't know what a simp is? And you don't know what a gun is? Okay, I got a lot to teach you. That I don't. I'm not. That means take you back to Robin Stuckey's and get you a better bitch.
Basically, yeah.
That's a Ticoism right there.
Yeah.
If y'all
Take
want
your
to
ass
get
to
your
Robert
bitch,
Stuckey and get you a better
take
bitch.
her back to Walmart and to return that bitch and take your ass to Robin Stuckey's and get a better bitch.
Yeah, basically,
And
yeah,
that's
for
just a
real.
fact.
Go shopping at Walmart. Go shopping in bargain bins, motherfucker. Up your fucking game.
That is a Ticoism. That is definitely a Ticoism and a half.
Go shopping at that little shit. Shit. Shopping in the bargain bin at fucking Walmart. It's already cheap as it is. You just shopping in the bargain bin at Walmart and shit.
Actually, the clearance bin at Best Buy is where I got some of those CDs that I play in my videos.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I do. I mean, like since then I got a record player, but I'm gonna probably buy. If I ever buy some more CDs, I'll have to buy like. Uh, Actually, screw it. Fuck it. Why not? Why not just buy stuff from the clearance bin? It's cheap. That's what I gotta do.
True story.
Hmm. No, but
Pretty
your
much, yeah, that's what a
Ticoisms
temp
are
is.
someone who doesn't return. Who does way too much for a person they like.
Oh, definitely. That's a simp and a half.
Yeah, because I noticed you do that. Like you do that. You like people that you. Or it's like I appreciate the fact that Tico sees me in negative light.
What do you mean?
Like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when I'm talking to you, you're like I feel you judging me, but it's like a good way.
I don't think I ever judged you. I don't think I ever judged you though.
No. That's not what I'm trying. I don't know how. Like, I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but it's like the fact that I hear like whenever the narcissist gives you a boost, they're trying to make you feel like they're trying to make you more dependent on what they're giving out.
Hmm.
And it's like I don't feel that way. Like when I'm talking to you, it's more like I don't know. I said it in one time in the Tico sphere. I said it's like an accountability sphere.
Yeah,
So it's kind
accountability.
of
Sure.
like
Yeah, basically, it's
yeah.
accountability. It's all about
That's how I see
accountability.
it.
If you can't
That's
get
one
account,
way how I
if you
see
can't
it.
take accountability, then like it's like one of those things. It's like, well, I just can't hang with you if you can't take accountability because you're not worth having around because you're just a net drain.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not necessary, and you see it as a net drain, but to me, it's like I think about it in terms of women. It's like, why would you be protective and over? Why would you be overprotective of something that's all around you all day?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's like so. If you seem so mentally deficient to sort of like have this, it's almost like don't have object permanence.
Yeah, because I'm the type of person if you become a lab, like a good example of that is like like they have the no man left behind in the military. I'm the type of person if you become a liability to some extent, I'm probably going to double tap that person. Um, because I believe in mission objective over like anything for all
Hmm.
intents and purposes. So like I will care
I'm
up
gonna
to
let
a
you rock
certain
with that
extent.
because I've never been in the military, but so I'm gonna let you go ahead. Go ahead and say that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you. Yeah, I know,
No.
right? Yeah, so I know he tried to. I know he tried to hidden.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I care to a certain extent for you. However, when you start becoming a liability, when your liability when you becoming a liability starts outweighing my care for you, then I'm gonna have to
yeah.
double tap you for all intents and purposes. So
Oh yeah.
if you're a hindrance to the rest of the team, you're gonna have to lay down where you are.
You should have to lay there. You're gonna take a
Yeah,
nap.
yeah, you got to lay down where you are. We're not taking you no more. We're not taking you any further. We'll
The
send your
fuck
family
with you.
flowers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the mediocre part to me is just what, like, you could do nice things for people and feel good about it, but it's like, why would you do it for
It's
somebody that you don't actually respect? Like,
well,
what a like,
yeah, and the sad part about that, the thing that pisses me off about that, is like it's one thing to do a nice deed, that's fine. However, if you're overdoing it and dropping exorbitant amounts of money, you're not getting anything in return. You need to stop. You really need to stop. Um, that's pretty much how I feel about that. As far as like when it comes to simps, like it's one thing to do something nice, like like the one time I actually did something nice where I bought two people coffee at a coffee shop that I was at because they were taken to that. Well, actually, usually when I do something nice, it's usually because I'm being selfish.
because you're being yeah, being a
Because,
dick.
huh? Because I'm being selfish usually. So anytime I do
Yeah,
something nice for somebody, there's always like a selfish undertone behind it. Like a good example, these two goofy motherfuckers are taking their good old time
you're
on
like,
some
I'll buy
bullshit.
it. I'll just buy it. I'll just buy
I
it.
got them both. I got them both. Fuck these bitches. Like, move.
Exactly, exactly.
Shit. Like, and it was some pompous looking guy and his pompous looking girlfriend, and it was just taking too damn long. And I was like, move. I got this. Go over there and tell them what you want, and I got this. Taking too fucking long out of this bitch. Like, so anytime I do something nice when I'm in public, it's usually because I'm being selfish, and I want this shit to speed up as much as humanly possible and be over with for all intents and purposes. Now, if I'm doing something nice for a friend, that's another story. But if I'm ever in public, you see me do
I
something nice.
didn't. I wasn't trying to call him. Okay, you guys are trolling. You guys are trolling me. Okay, I've been trolled on the channel that's trolls, but I'm a
I
troll.
know, right?
Trolling
You're trolling on a channel who's known to troll
trolls,
trolls.
trolls, trolls, trolls. I'm down. I'm down.
Goodness gracious, he's a mess. He's a mess. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
typically
really,
stuff
I
like
really
that.
am.
It's typically stuff like that. So it's one of those things where it's like I'll do something if it benefits me and it gets me out of somewhere faster. Um, if I'm being nice, it's usually that's how it works. However, I will say this: I do tip about 45 to 70% of my bill when I do go out and eat. So for you to fuck up, that means you're only getting 15%. If you fuck up, you're only getting 15%. Um, that's typically how I look at it. So if you actually give me good service, I'm willing to tip more money. I'm trying to think. That's about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm drug it on longer than it needed to be, probably,
No,
for the
you're
most
fine.
part.
You're fine.
Oh.
You said for the most. No, you did not for the most part.
Sorry, I've been in kind of like a mood. I mean, you saw me on the server, so you found I'm doing like weird shit right now.
Which server? Which server are you talking about?
The Redfield My Palaces server. I was doing weird stuff. Then I was at Austria Dick server, just chilling. And there were cool people on there. And then I was like, forget where else I was at, but it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I was in
I,
Nine Palaces server earlier today too, and I'm sitting there like, this.
damn. And then I got there late, and I'm just like, what did I miss? All I hear is this Tico. I hear like Jameson muttering something out of his mouth, and then I hear like Tico laughing, like vicious, like sadistic laughter. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I hear like Jaguar being like, all right, everybody relax, everybody relax. just like, oh my god, it's just like nuclear bombs going off, and I'm like, come on, world, just please, everybody take a break, drink some green tea and go like work
Drink
out,
some green tea and go work out. Listen to
do
you.
something,
That's my pre-workout green tea.
pre-workout.
That's
Oh
that's literally
no,
my pre-workout
sure.
green tea. Yeah, that's my
Like sure.
pre-workout.
Yeah, dude, I was like, I hope Sherm's heart doesn't give out.
Why you say that?
Pre-workout, doing that pre-workout. And then doing the live streams where he's all high
I know,
energy,
right?
dude. Just come on, man. Don't do it, bro. Don't do it.
Don't do it, bro. Don't do it, bro. Don't do it to yourself,
Don't
bro.
push it. Don't push it.
For real.
Yo, his live stream, yeah. Somebody posted or like Hidden posted that video where he's like reiterating that Sherm doesn't give a fuck, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
he
I
really
seen that video. I
doesn't
was
give a fuck.
cracking up. Hidden's a nut. And
What is the emoji?
That's a plane.
Oh, a jet.
Yeah, it's a jet. Hidden's being a dick.
Hidden, do you have any other new material, Hidden? Do you have any new material?
No, he didn't. Now he's trolling Hidden now from the chat. You got any new material? No, he didn't.
I've heard you say that. I've heard you say.
He's throwing shade on Hidden
He's
now.
got a private jet. I've heard you say he's got a private jet. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Just throwing shade on Hidden right now. Bad enough he already hit, now he's hitting in the shade.
Hidden in plain sight is one thing.
Mm.
Hidden in the shade.
But yeah, do you want to call it? I guess we could call it now because we don't got much to talk about no more. But you have another topic.
Ticosphere, Ticoisms, Tico standards. I get the Tico standards. Okay, so then, and I shared my thing about mental illness. That one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a big stickler about mental illness. You did what? Okay, bye.
Oh, you burned whose house down? And that's the thing too. They say like, oh, okay, and that's why. I mean, imagine if, because you were talking about, oh, my my relative or whatever burned somebody's house down. It's like if I learned that about somebody's relative that I was dating, I would be like, okay, that probably means that this woman that I'm going to be dating probably has the potential to burn my house down too. Yeah. Like if somebody you're related to does that stuff, then you're like, okay.
Yeah, because my grandma did it, and it was the funniest thing in the world.
I should expect this then.
Downtown MGTOW. That's what we doing now. Hidden any new material? No, he did.
I've heard you say that. I've heard you say.
He's throwing shade on Hidden.
He's got a private jet. I've heard you say he's got a private jet. That's a good one.
He got a lagging, or he's just recording.
He's doing it. There's a lot of people who have done that.
Getting in the shade. Hidden, you might want to turn off the recording. You might want to turn down YouTube.
In the shade. Real, but is he?
Yeah, do you want to call it? I guess we could call it now because we don't got much to talk about no more. Really Hidden. But you have another topic.
Is Hidden. Ticosphere, Ticoism, Tico standards. I get the Tico standards. Okay, so then, PD has. I shared my thing about mental illness. That one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a big stickler about mental illness. You did what? Okay, bye.
Oh, you burned whose house down? And that's the thing too. They say like, oh, okay, I would burn somebody's house down. I mean. Imagine Hidden, because you were talking about. I would. Don't play like you wouldn't. Don't play like you wouldn't burn somebody's house. It's like if I learned that about somebody's relative that I was dating, I would be like, oh, it's gonna be funny if it keeps playing.
My grandmother burned down my mother's house. That's what else she actually burned down to the ground. She burned down my mother's place of residence. Yeah, so that's that. What's up, downtown MGTOW? Downtown MGTOW.
You pretty much summed it up in your little thing, and then I just came in and had to add my 2 cents.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, you got anything to say, Hidden? Don't be acting all quiet now. Don't be acting all skirt.
Yeah, dude, you talking a lot of crap in the comment section. Is this a no-show?
It's
Literally.
not working.
What's not
Oh,
working?
okay.
Time I come in here, I fuck something up.
Yeah, you do.
Can't even hear Tico at all.
You can't hear Tico.
It's like a
You can't hear
bull in a
me?
MGTOW chop.
Yeah, a bull in the MGTOW shop, definitely. I like that, a bull in the MGTOW shop. Oh, goodness.
Oh, my microphones are getting all messed up too.
Oh, my goodness.
He said
We
he
can
can't
hear you.
Yeah. I can hear something. I can hear something.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, we're about to call this. Everybody do their outros.
I guess we're gonna call this. This is Darren Yam. Be well. Go watch my new video. I also recorded another video, but I'm not. I think I'm gonna hold on to that one.
Fucking thing pissing me.
But yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to watch today in the Manosphere. So if you guys didn't get a chance to watch all of it in one day, because there's like more than enough to fill like at least a full day of watching MGTOW stuff.
We're live.
We've been live. Where you been?
Doesn't look like you guys are talking at all. What's
Do your outro, Hidden. Hidden, do your outro.
Used.
Hidden, are you impersonating a brick wall or something right now? I literally cannot hear anything.
Hidden, do your outro.
All right, I'm gonna bounce out later, Tico.
All right, and y'all have a good one. Be blessed and have a great night. And I'll see y'all tomorrow with Black Pill Radio for the Bleeding Edge podcast, the Bleeding Edge Red Pill podcast, basically. So check y'all out then. See y'all tomorrow at like 1:30 p.m. Y'all be blessed and have a good night. Peace.
Oh, fuck.